All right, here is today's AAA heating and cooling poll question. It is on X at 1080 The Fan, and it is always brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, a family business, helping families for over 60 years. AAA-IAQ.com. But first.
But that was a Larry Johnson free throw right there. You got me.
Yesterday, we asked you, is this the worst season of Blazers basketball of ever times?
Mm-hmm.
73% of you said it has to be.
Yeah, it's not
and then
good.
27% said it's bad, but no.
I know a lot of Blazer fans that are on board with this is a low point for the organization.
So today we're asking you, as I mentioned, it pertains to Oregon State athletics. I have just put it up there for you, so when you go there, please, when you vote hard. How do you view the state of Oregon State athletics right meow? Absolutely screwed, a new normal, or darkness before the dawn?
Oh, I know a lot of football fans are thinking that they're about to have a Batman sort of situation, and I hope you're right. I don't have a lot of faith in that myself.
Well, this is more testing the mindset of the fans, right? It's like, how do you view it? Do you think that they'll be fine in a couple of years because they'll land on their feet in a conference and this will all be over? Do you think that it's just a new normal and it's like, all right, let's just move forward? Or are you just the type that's like, I give up, this sucks, I hate it, and we're screwed?
I'm ready to vote, and I will vote hard.
Please vote hard.
I think you're screwed. I think you are in a really, really bad spot. I don't think it's the end of you. And so, like, I got to combine them because I think you're screwed, and I think that the new normal eventually is going to settle in, and you're not going to be happy with the new normal. But I do feel that there is a path to come out of this, but it is a really, really narrow path, and I can't really see the way forward. I think the next 2 years and the transfer portal, it's going to hurt. So I don't have a lot of faith, and it sucks because Oregon State and Washington State, I'll give them both credit, but especially Oregon State, because obviously that's here, and I think they've done a little better job. They've done a really, really nice job in building their athletic programs, I should say. Athletic department would be a better term. They made the right hire with Jonathan Smith, and he took them from the doldrums, and they're a top 25 program. The baseball team's one of the best in the country. Men's basketball, it's obviously up and down, but you've had your moment there. You went to an Elite Eight not too long ago. Ruick has done a really nice job with the women's basketball program. They've done a nice job. They've committed. They've put money into the facilities. They have done a nice job, and this is no fault of their own. And unfortunately, I don't see how you find your way out of this. So it sucks, but I think you're screwed.
So someone said they're 2-42 outside of, this is men's basketball I'm talking about here. The men's basketball team is 2-42 outside of Corvallis.
Ouch.
In the last handful of years.
I think that is accurate because I remember, I think you were gone, Suke and I were doing a show, and someone texted in a similar stat.
Like that.
At the time, it was like 1-38 or something, but yeah, that's right.
Hey, they won one.
They won one. And now you just look at it, and the women's basketball team, and hopefully you can hold on. I know you lost a two-time all-conference player yesterday. Hopefully you can manage to keep that roster together. We'll wait and see. Men's basketball team, which was already struggling, lost their best player yesterday.
They lost their second best today.
So.
Well, they now have so let's take inventory here.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, I think on the women's basketball team, they have already lost 3. Looking for validation here.
I don't know.
I'm looking at Buck.
I know for sure that they lost that Von Olhoffen, but I don't know if it's 3.
And she's one of your best players.
She was a two-time all-conference player. So yes, I don't know if they've lost more, but I know obviously the big one is if you can find a way to keep Reagan Beers, and then the sixth woman of the year in the Pac-12, whose name is escaping me right now. They're all underclassmen that could come back, and even Ruick said after the tournament loss, he acknowledged that there's a real challenge with the uncertainty and now going to the West Coast Conference that they might not be able to keep those.
So on the men's side, they lost 3 more. Pope's gone. The second leading scorer, Tyler Bilodeau, is that his name?
Yeah, that's correct. He's gone as well.
He just left today. He was averaging 14.
And then Chol Martin, I think, is the other guy.
Yeah, and so they've lost 6 they've lost 6 players to the portal. They only have 5 scholarship players left.
Yep.
This is on the men's
on
side.
the men's side, and it was already.
But hey, how about that baseball team?
Well, and that's the one thing. Hopefully, that if you're Oregon State, you don't need to be in a power conference to be a baseball powerhouse, right? We've seen, the Pepperdines of the world. As long as you're willing to commit and spend on that program, you would hope that the Oregon State baseball can continue, and that's at such a high level that recruits will still want to go there. The rest of it, it's tough. Like I said, I know football fan believes that this transfer portal is going to come in and save you. Like you get the quarterback from Idaho who had 15 touchdowns and 8 picks last year, but I mean, your roster between the NFL and the transfer portal, it was gutted. I mean, Dave Martinez coming back and Joshua Gray. And hopefully, by the way, Gray sticks around through spring practice, with because there's a second transfer portal window, fingers crossed there. But your strength of the team, your offensive line is you got one coming back. Martinez stuck around, that's good. But, you lost your future quarterback. Your receiving core got gutted. Your best returning D lineman, your best returning linebacker, your best returning secondary guy, your best young secondary guy. I mean, it wasn't just that you lost, I think, 14 kids. It was who those 14 kids were. And the schedule isn't great next year. So it's not like you have just this overwhelm. It's like you're playing a Big Ten schedule. But this idea that you're just going to roll out there and win 11 games. And by the way, we have a coaching staff that we don't know anything about. So, it's tough.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, it's hard to be a Blazer fan right now, and it's hard to be a Beaver.
Yes.
Very hard. As a matter of fact, historically hard. Well, I don't know. The Beavers have been through certainly some athletic doldrums.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know how this compares. This may be worse than anything they've ever been through athletically.
I think it's worse because with Washington State and Oregon State, in any school that is, I don't know, viewed as not one of the powerhouses. And this isn't unique. I would put there's lots of schools around the country that fall into this category, right? That look at Cal. Let's not act like Cal's any better. It's a great academic institution, but let's not act like Cal is just rolling out winners. Oregon State has had better athletic program than Cal has over the years. But when you take schools that are challenged, that aren't in, huge markets or big alumni base and have, all the money flowing in, you don't have the big booster culture there. They've all been through periods, but I think both Oregon State and Washington State have done a really nice job of navigating those waters and have done a nice job in fundraising and have upgraded facilities and have done a nice job of hiring coaches. I mean, just look over the years at some of the coaches that have come through those two organizations, those two institutions. They've done a really, really nice job of finding people and plugging them in, and there is a lot to be proud of in those athletic departments. But the one thing you could always hang your hat on throughout all those struggles were you had the Power 5 brand behind you, right? You had the Pac-12, and you had a good supply of money coming in, right? And there was that pipeline. There was always at least the idea that was somewhat of an even footing. And that's gone now. I was listening to an interview today with Charlie Baker, the new NCAA president. It was actually a really good long-form one with Coach K. It was Coach K and him going back and forth. And dare I say, I actually thought Charlie Baker sounded really good. Like, I was like, oh my God, he seemed like a reasonable human being. But it was startling in there that there was about 3 times where he said Power 5 and then corrected himself and was like, well, Power 4. And just that right there. And the fact that however this shakes out, your TV deal, let's say even in 2 years, you end up rebuilding and you get the Mountain West and you got formed some sort of, conference and you're like, hey, we feel pretty good and this is kind of solid. Everyone else has moved up into this 30, 40, 50, $80 million pool. And all this money coming in for the college football programs, the college football playoff and the new revenue, 20 plus million getting dumped into these programs just from that alone, plus the TV deals. Realize that the Mountain West right now, their TV deal averages, I think, about $3 million a year. And then the TV payouts from the new college football, it's like what, 1.8 million? So we've never had this gap that these schools have faced before. And unless they find a way to get into one of these conferences, and I don't know how that happens, the gap that was there before, which was a sizable one, it's now the Grand Canyon. And I don't know how you overcome that.
Well, the way you would overcome it is the ACC loses some key schools, and then they come calling to backfill it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? I mean, Florida State, they're leaving.
Yeah.
Clemson, they're leaving. North Carolina's probably leaving. So the ACC is going to have to bring. I mean, who else is out there at this point to bring into the ACC? So I think Oregon State and Washington State could be in the ACC in 2 years, and they can bridge that gap. But the question really is this as bad as it's ever been? Like, that's actually a really good question that we've stumbled upon. Is this as bad as it's been in Oregon State athletic history? Because they've had some rough, real rough patches.
And I think it is because of the
financial gap. Yeah. And there's no certainty as to what's.
So when you're
coming.
recruiting and you're trying to bring in coaches, you're trying to bring in players, you're trying to keep your players, what do you sell other than we hope?
Yeah,
and
but that's
a tough sell.
But I think the flip side of that is you have good programs. I mean, the baseball program is a national power.
Yeah.
Football's coming off some excellent seasons. Women's basketball, so it's like without the Pac-2 stuff, if the Pac-12 were still intact and they were somewhat in the ball game financially, this would be the best we've ever seen Oregon State athletics.
Yep.
But because of everything that's happened with conference, it's now possibly the worst. It's really weird. If you're an Oregon sports fan, you must a fan of sports in Oregon. Let's put it that way. You got to root for the Ducks.
You got to root for the Ducks.
Well, yeah, the Blazers are balls. Oregon State,
Nah, root for the Beavs.
Winter Hawks. You can root for the Winter Hawks.
Hey, the Hawks are cruising right now, baby.
That's what I'm saying. So if you want to root for a winner, you got the Ducks. And you got the Winter Hawks.
I root for the Beavs because the Beavs need it. The Beavs need some love. Everyone always, I love Beaver fan that gets mad at me. He's like, you hate the Beavers.
If you do hate the Beavers.
If you listen to this program over the last 20 years, I'm the exact opposite of that. What I am is a realist.
You're an ass.
And I don't bury my head in the sand and pretend that some flunkies from Colorado coming to your offensive line are suddenly going to start balling out.
See, you didn't need to take that jab.
Well, I do. Because they need to eat this idea.
You're taking it personally.
Just this. There is a little bit of delusion going on, and
look, they have every fan needs hope.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are some things to give Oregon State fan hope. Let them have that. Why you gotta poop all over that?
Winterhawks up 3-0 in the first round series.
Now
Boom.
the Blazers, if you're a fan of the Blazers, I'm not sure what you hang your hat on hope wise.
Yeah, I don't know.
So.